trying to end well for me, unfortunately. I'm like in half the screen. See if I can straighten it out a little better so you can see my groceries in the back. We are live. We live, y'all. All right, Armand here for E equals MCU. And word in these internet streets, Oscar Isaac is talking about Midnight Suns. And this is fresh off the presses. Just hit this morning while I was waiting for potential Avengers Doomsday trailer release, which, as we all know, as of yet has not happened. And a little bit of news on that from something that I heard yesterday. But first, into this Oscar Isaac news. So Oscar Isaac is saying that he wants to play Moon Knight in the Midnight Suns film. Um, the way he's talking, and this hit on Reddit about an hour ago. The way he's talking is it's something that's in development, and it sounds like he's kind of lobbying because he knows that Marvel Studios is listening to what the fans want. So he's putting it out there to get the fan chatter, so to speak, kind of brewing to make this happen. So I'm gonna do my part and get the chatter going. So I guess what I want to know is, well, number one, if you're a fan of the Midnight Suns, what team do you want? Because in this article, it does specifically say we would get Oscar Isaac Moon Knight, Mahershala Ali's Blade. We would get Elsa Bloodstone. I can't remember the actress name from Werewolf by Night, but we would get Elsa Bloodstone. We would get Ghostrider, and John Bernthal's Punisher was also included in this list. Now, for a Ghostrider, Oscar Isaac specifically stated and said that he wanted Ryan Gosling to play Ghostrider, in which, if anyone has been keeping up with the tea leaves, Ryan Gosling was in talks. He's been in talks with Marvel for the past 10 years. I think first it was Nova, and as of late, it's been Ghostrider. Um, I mean, he's been in talks with Marvel. It sounds like now there may be something a little bit more to it as far as he's red hot right now. So now they want him, more than ever. And I think a lot of it with Hollywood and just how it works, Ryan Gosling, maybe he wants to play Ghost Rider or maybe he wants to play Nova and have a movie. Either way it goes, they're lobbying to get a film, especially now with Disney Plus kind of going back to the TV format and not being pitched to actors as films on streaming, 6 episode film like events on streaming. Now it's just TV. So you got a lot of these bigger actors who are playing these roles who may have been on TV, into which um, they want to film. Now, with the recent news of Marvel, laying off thousands of or 1,000 employees and them scaling back as far as what they have for budget for this, that, and the third, I don't know if we're gonna get a Midnight Suns movie. I mean, it'd have to be rated R. You'd have to figure out. I think Doctor Strange is really the linchpin to having a Midnight Suns movie, whether or not he's the star of it or he just appears in it or what have you. But they have movie film stars playing these roles, so I guess my thought would be for a budget they would have to do a film. And I just don't know where. If you're only doing 2 films a year, I don't know where you put in the Midnight Suns unless you make that Doctor Strange 3 or Doctor Strange doesn't get a solo. You know what I mean? Like, and they should do team up movies. I just wonder how that would work on the contracts of everything. I do wonder that. I wonder how it would work on the contracts. So, yeah, I mean, I guess where I'm at with it, um, I'd like to see it. I really kind of wish in the perfect world we could get Midnight Suns as a Marvel spotlight on Disney Plus. But in my opinion, for certain things and where I think that Marvel and Disney kind of missed the mark is when we had the pandemic and they rolled out Black Widow. If you were going to go through all that and get sued and you knew you were breaking your contract with Scarlett Johansson and all this and the third, you really should have tried to use that as a test run to see if you could produce Marvel Disney content behind a paywall. And it's like they're forever behind Netflix when it comes to the streaming wars. Like Netflix is always ahead of the game. Netflix is paving the road, and a lot of these other streamers they're just not following. I think they got in the bit off more than they could chew. But a lot of Netflix stuff that's like under that window, that first day release window, is always behind a paywall for like a year. And for them they do it to where you have to subscribe a higher tier in order to get those particular films. If I'm Marvel and I'm Disney, if I'm hurting for money, and as a fan, I know I don't want to see this because I think the economy is tanking. I've been listening to a lot of the people who were at the Las Vegas CinemaCon, and a lot of the impression I get is that the Hollywood studios want to make good with the film industry, or not the film industry, but the movie theaters specifically. They want to have a good relationship. They want to keep movies alive, and we want to keep films in the theaters for 45 days and 90 days to VOD and blah 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 blah. I think the thing that most people are missing, and most of the people I'm listening to, especially those who live in California, and maybe for them it's just because this is just reality. Like everything out there is 15 times as high as anything else. So to them, they're all just, this is the economy. But I would say for like small America or rural America, besides New York and LA, um, ain't nobody going to the movies, man. Ain't nobody trying to go back to go. Nobody. It's not going to. And maybe it's because we don't have the premium seatings and all this stuff that they got in these bigger cities. But ain't nobody trying to go back to the movies like that because the movies are too expensive, and they've priced out most of Americans from being able to go to 50 million movies. Like, I think a lot of people are just choosing which one or two, maybe three movies they're gonna go to a year, like that, and that's it. Like, they're not going to every movie. Keep this in mind for anybody who's watching. Ask yourself. This is the biggest thing, and I can say this from experience. Once you have children, you no longer go to the movies. I was a movie buff. I went my in my 20s and stuff. I worked at a movie theater. Okay, I worked at two movie theaters actually. I worked at one movie theater. I worked there for over 2 years, and the other one I worked there for over 3 years. So like I got like 5-6 years of working at movie theaters throughout my late teens and early 20s. Okay, I went and saw every movie that came out because I had the time. And it wasn't so much that it was too expensive. Even like once I stopped working at a movie theater, one of the things me and my girlfriend did is go to the movies. Like that's what our thing was. But as soon as we had kids, and I mean as like the very day, and I will never forget because we had our first daughter on the day that it was like a day or two after Daredevil Born Again season 2 dropped. And that was like the last time I got a full night of sleep. That was the last time I actually stayed up all night and binged a Netflix series. And ever since then, we don't go to the movies like that. Like, it took them getting to a certain age before they could even sit through even going through like kids' movies. And now they can go to kids' movies. But even then, like, we don't really have a lot of time to go to movies ourselves, to go to movies that they can't go to. So, with the economy being what it is and how everything is hurting, really feel like most of the content creators on YouTube and most of the movie theaters in the industry, they have no idea what's about to come. They're about to get blindsided, and you're gonna hear Grace Randolph and John Campia and everybody like, oh my god, because their success depends on people going to the movies. That's why they're all so pro movies. You're gonna see new rock stars. I'm like, I don't know why nobody went to see Supergirl. I don't know why nobody went to see Minions or and let's be fair. Things like Mario and Minions that's coming up and everything, they're gonna make their money because they're family friendly and that's where parents can take their kids to. But parents no longer have that leisure or that extra cash flow to go to a spend $50 at a movie and dinner and everything like a date night on themselves and pay a babysitter. And most of these people, like I said, like the Grace Randolphs, the Campias, the new rock stars, ask yourself when you're watching their channels, do they have children? Do any of them have children? Like the way they sit and gloat and talk about all the stuff they talk about, yes, it's work, but it's also they have the luxury because they don't have children. And not to say that like that's not a bad thing. That just comes with the sacrifice. And I personally noticed like here where I'm at, even when new movies come out and they're new, nobody goes to the movies. Nobody's. It's never. It's. Last time I've been in a movie and it was packed. I have man. And to be fair, the only thing I'm anticipating for it to be packed this year is going to be Doomsday. That's it. So in in regards to what they're saying and what they were talking about with CinemaCon, that's what's going on. Like I honestly think that most of them are. I don't want to say they're not living in reality, but they're not living in most of our realities. So you know, as far as the Midnight Suns thing, hopefully it happens. Fingers crossed. I mean, like they'd have to pick up and start making $1 billion a film again. I think for it to happen, but and that's probably why Oscar Isaac is trying to lobby for it to happen so badly. But I don't think that that's. We'll see. We'll see this summer at Comic Con if they actually do it. So I forgot the other point I was gonna make, but it's besides his here or there. Hopefully we get the trailer soon. What I did hear as far as with the trailers that we may not be getting the trailer until next month when Grogu and the Mandalorian and Grogu come out because Disney wants to make you go see their movies by watching their trailers in the theater. I think I'm gonna just leave it there till tomorrow. Peace.